Dress like a trophy, act like a trophy, talk like a trophy.
But a trophy is an object. They're wanting women to dress like objects, act like objects, and think of themselves like objects. But I imagine some of those women who do those things would complain if they actually get treated like an object.
Make sure every hair is in place. Make sure makeup is on point. Make sure your clothes is cute. Accessories. Walk. Have confidence. Smile.
It's because being the prettiest object is the most important.
Whatever room you walk into, people are going to see you.
What I've noticed a lot of is in these particular types of conversations, there is a lot of focus on attracting a man's attention, being the object of desire. However, what is not talked about is what they are going to do to actually keep the man interested and have a productive relationship. Because looks fade. What are a lot of these women going to do that portray themselves as these trophies once they're no longer in their prime? Because it happens to everyone, like it or not.
Oh my god, you guys, we can't trust the nerdy men either. Yeah, do you think we just say it's all men for no reason?
No, it's not for no reason, but it definitely seems that a lot of those that say all men just seem to want to display their irrationality and their propensity to be bigoted.
This is what we mean when we say all men. Being a misogynistic loser can take any shape or form inside of a man's body.
And willful ignorance can take any form.
Reality is we say all men because it genuinely is all men.
Except it's not. But there are those out there that seem to think if they keep saying something, not only will more people believe them, but that their statements will somehow become true.
We say all men because women need to be treating every gun like it is loaded.
Let's hear it for another logical fallacy, the false equivalence.
The point of me saying all of this is that no matter how a guy presents himself to you, you do not know who he is until you've been around him for years.
It's really handy that social media has allowed so many women, though, to be able to show themselves for who they are. That way no one has to waste years.
Men aren't taught that rape's bad.
Does anyone else find this particular type of narrative a little bit hard to believe, that someone actually thinks that men aren't taught these things? But unfortunately, there do seem to be some out there that actually think this.
Men are taught that rape will get you sent to jail, which is why they're so obsessed with false accusations.
And yet, it keeps getting almost more unbelievable. But yet, here we are. That is not why men are worried about false accusations. It's almost like those things can actually ruin someone's life. And like it or not, even though the chances are small, there are women out there that do falsely accuse men of those things.
Because they don't think of it as some terrible, awful thing. They think of it as something that you do that can have a bad repercussion.
You know, it's always been my personal opinion that no one should ever speak on behalf of an entire population that they, quite frankly, are showing they know nothing about.
They don't see it as an actual heinous act, and that's the problem.
Actually, the biggest problem is that there are individuals out there that will continue to perpetuate false narratives against entire demographics of people.
Happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, guys.
So far, so good.
I'm kidding, that's a joke.
Never mind.
I think it is very weird, the concept of this Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which is not a real holiday.
Okay then. But doesn't that text across the screen just broadcast great things to come?
Then why do the women have a mental health month? I don't see no women's mental health month.
Where's this going? Because somehow I don't think it's about equality.
I think it is very weird that the concept of Men's Mental Health Awareness Month is basically meant to make us women feel bad. Make us feel bad that your guys' mental health issue.
What exactly would lead a person to that conclusion? Well, maybe they have something to feel bad for, but it's amazing how many individuals actually try to make things that are really about others all about themselves.
Everyone's mental health is important. But it's weird that the concept of this month is meant to prove to women that, we don't give a fuck, you guys. We are not your mothers, okay?
Yeah, that is not what Men's Mental Health Month is about. It is actually about recognizing some of the unique struggles that men actually are going through all across the world, trying to maintain and in some cases regain their mental health. But some women out there think that it's about trying to make women feel bad for how they treat men. Well, in some cases, if the shoe fits, wear it, but it's not always about you.
Men make more false allegations than women.
Well, if nothing else, this should be interesting.
I see men on this app constantly making false allegations of silence to push a point.
Let's be very clear here. They are actually stating that men who are making accusations of assault are making it up.
And I've never seen a woman do that. Men also will say that they've been falsely accused of SA, when in reality, they didn't.
So when it comes to men and SA, they are automatically guilty. There's no innocent until proven guilty. But if a man says something about a woman doing it, they're lying.
And we know that the majority of the time when a woman says something happened to them, it's true. When it comes to SA, men love to lie and say that they didn't do it and blame the actions solely on the woman, when in reality, you did it, and you are right now making a false accusation against the woman, stating that she falsely accused you.
Circular logic is always the most fun to try to follow, isn't it?
And I'm sorry, but you're gonna start needing to provide proof that you were falsely accused. Because if I have to provide proof that I was sexually assaulted, you need to provide proof that you were truly falsely accused before I can believe you.
It is entirely possible they've never actually heard of why there is this thing called the burden of proof. Nor have they apparently heard how difficult it actually is to prove a negative. Statements like that really speak volumes, don't they? And I have seen numerous posts just like this, if not even worse. And it really gives a person a good idea of the content of that person's character, morality, and indeed the level of empathy that that person happens to have in regards to other human beings. And in case anyone wasn't aware what those numbers mean, that is actually the number of men by the year, month, day, hour, and minute that decide to, by their own hands, leave this plane of existence. Might I add, a lot of these are the same types of women that want everyone, including men, to care about women's issues. But they can't be bothered to have any empathy at all for someone just because they happen to be a man. It's really sad, isn't it? And honestly, a lot of them should be ashamed of themselves. But on the upside, the internet is forever.
Let's hear it for the band of the year.
When precisely was the exact moment when the expression of hatred and bigotry towards a group of people became something that was considered to be, if not socially acceptable, at least very well liked by a large number of people? And if anyone doubts that, just look at the number of likes that a certain video has received thus far. And unfortunately, because this type of behavior is being encouraged, we will only see more of these types of posts and these types of messages, because there are a lot of individuals out there that want to get that type of validation. They want to have the likes and the views, so they're going to post this type of bigoted message so that they can get that notoriety and that popularity. And they're expressing bigotry simply because they want to be popular for it. There used to be a time that was frowned upon. But now, as long as it's only against men, that's perfectly fine. We are certainly going backwards.
I have a question. Where are all the good men at?
Have you checked your friend zone?
And I am being so serious right now.
So am I.
I am being for real. I want to know where the good men are at.
Well, quite a lot of them are already in relationships. And if they're not, they're most likely just not interested in dating, because look at the dating pool right now. Can you tell me there's a lot to be interested in?
If you're someone who dates men and also hates men, I feel like those things are at conflict.
You think?
To heal from it, I want to move on, but I feel like where I'm lacking and where we are lacking societally is just having these positive examples of men being good, men being safe, men being trustworthy. So if you have examples of this, I want to know about it. Please share about it.
Maybe open your eyes and realize that good men are actually everywhere, and they far outnumber the bad men. I know that goes contrary to what a lot of individuals out there say, that it's all men, but good men are actually everywhere. If you get out of your echo chamber once in a while, you'd know that.
Men, if you're seeing this, please chime in, please pipe in. Like, are we safe with you? How can we feel safe with you? How can we stop carrying around this hate for men?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the first step would be stop hating people for something about themselves that they can't control. That would probably be a good first step.
A lot of dudes to stand in the house, man. I mean, you know what? I wouldn't even say a lot of dudes are staying in the house. I say there are a good portion of guys staying in the house, but I also say there are a lot of guys out and about doing their thing. You can see some of the clips around where women are filming men dancing, dancing in the background, saying, why are they not talking to us? Who's going to be the boys? Dancing with themselves. Women are dancing with themselves while guys stand over in a corner in a group and talk to each other. Look like a couple of brothers just having a conversation, a nice, healthy conversation. And they making fun of them. Why no guys buying us drinks? Why no guys talking to us? Why would men want to be bothered with that? Y'all always got to have the attention around y'all and on y'all. This is why men don't want to be around y'all. That's why they choose to stay single. Where are the men at? Where are the good men at? Right around you. They just not talking to you.
I actually have really horrible news to share.
And what would that be?
Women don't need men to make babies.
That's going to come as a great shock to a great many people. And just imagine the surprise in the scientific community.
We just need a fridge.
At this time, I would like to point out that it's actually a very, very cold freezer, not a fridge. And just where exactly do they think they're going to get the material to put in it? Where's that coming from, I wonder?
Every single day, sperm is reproduced, meaning one man could impregnate 30 women in 1 month.
Wait a minute, I thought they didn't need men. Oh well, I guess those silly little facts got in the way of that fantasy.
Do you see what I'm saying here?
So far, what I'm seeing is that they're saying they know absolutely nothing about genetics, let alone biology.
So with a few industrial fridges and with a few gay men, women would be solid. Solid, okay?
I would like to point out that gay men are still men. Therefore, their entire argument falls apart, because they do actually need men.
Men who are secure don't get upset when women say all men.
Oh, interesting strategy. Anyone else see what they're doing?
Emotionally regulated men don't get upset when women say all men.
Do you get it yet?
Because we understand why they would say that.
Oh, I absolutely understand why a lot of women, as well as men, would say that, because they're speaking from a place of emotion, not rationale and logic.
No one is criticizing masculinity. What they are criticizing are men who don't understand why women would say all men.
Personally, I tend to criticize those things that I find to be illogical. And saying something is true about an entire group of people when it's only some members of that group doing it is highly illogical, even bigoted.
Men have always dominated society. And for women to say all men, we understand that it is not an attack against all men. It is a plea that men understand where they are coming from.
Believe it or not, I think a lot of women out there would have a lot more luck if they actually put forth their arguments in a rational manner instead of relying on emotional pleas.
All men cheat. Every single one of them.
No, they actually don't. But I wonder if we use the same logic against women and generalize them like we generalize men. Since a lot of women also cheat, we could say the same that all women cheat, right? But that probably wouldn't go over very well.
Any woman who cannot accept that, any woman and even man who is still walking around here saying, not all men, they're dumb, they're stupid, they're developmentally delayed.
Actually, those particular descriptions would not apply to those that think rationally. Instead, I can think of those of whom that description would be much more fitting.
If women sit here and accept the fact that all men cheat, you're not all that special, you're not all that great, she is no longer going to have a sense of worthiness, a sense of validation, because her whole identity is rooted in if a man is going to stay faithful to her or not.
This might come as a complete shock, but there are some things that I think some out there need to hear. Not only do not all men cheat, but not every woman places all of their value on whether a man chooses to be with them or not. There is more to life than being in a relationship.
Who needs an enemy when you have a man by your side?
I think the question that a lot of us need to start asking is if so many women are convinced that men actually hate them, which they don't, why are so many women choosing to still be with men? Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
You don't. You really don't. It's right there with you. Sleeping with you every night.
If a person really feels that way about their partner, then they should not be in a relationship.
Are you going to find that out when you have arguments with them? Hear me out.
All right, let's hear more.
How your man treats you when you're having a conflict with him tells a lot about him and how he feels about you. Guess what? Most men suck at having conflicts.
And honestly, so do a lot of women. But that's another discussion for another time.
He tries so hard to make you feel like, to make you feel down, to humiliate you, to humble you, mess up with your mind and mess up with your self-esteem.
You know, most men don't actually do that. However, unfortunately, there are some men that do. Just as there are some women that do that to men and to other women. But if a person is in a bad relationship, do yourself a favor and get out of that relationship.
If a girl blocked you and you have no way to contact her, you need to do this.
I really hope that the next thing that they're going to say is, leave them alone.
Let me preface this because I feel like a bunch of people are going to be like, this is going to get me a restraining order.
It very well might.
If you did something that is incredibly unhinged, like unforgivable, go on to the next, move on.
No, if they've blocked you, it's time to move on already.
If you feel like something is still there and you want to get in touch with her, send her an email.
Don't do that.
Connect with her on LinkedIn.
Don't do that either.
Follow her on Spotify.
And yet another terrible idea.
Keep that Visco. I'm just saying, if I blocked a man and he did any of these things, I would go back. That effort is unmatched. So like, if I blocked you, hit me up.
If that wasn't a reason not to listen to anything that they said, I don't know what else is.
I'm telling you, some of these ladies want you to crash out over them at all costs. It doesn't matter the consequences. It doesn't matter the circumstance or the environment. Crash out over me. I always think about that quote that a woman said about some dude in Yellowstone, where they were like, oh, well, you know, it's not really that he's all that cute. It's just that he always allows whatever her name was to be fully who she is. It doesn't matter basically how berserk she goes on him, how crazy she talks to him, how much of an attitude or emotional she is. He always gives her space to be who she is. And I always think about that because I'm like, so basically hollering and screaming and acting a fool. But I'm going to give you space to do that. I'm going to allow you to do that. I'm going to allow you to be emotionally undisciplined, period. And I'm going to be like, okay, baby, it's fine. I still love you. No. Learn to discipline yourself.
I think it's safe to say that we found another unicorn.
As a single mom at 27, let's say I was your man. What would I need to pay for?
I don't think you would need to pay for anything. I wouldn't see it that way. I think we can both contribute to building a life together.
So far, so good.
Let's say I wanted to go to McDonald's and you had your kid with you. Would I be expected to pay for the two of you or just you?
Let's see what they have to say.
Just me. That's my baby. That's my responsibility. I mean, if he wants to do that, it's fine, but I don't expect it.
Not the expectation.
Now let's be honest, after seeing so many of these, who really saw that coming?
You're not gonna feel any type of way if I'm like, okay, let's get me a meal, you a meal, but you can pay for your kids?
Yeah, no, I don't mind that because that's why she has her father, you know, to be able to contribute. And then, you know, like I said, if he wants to do that, then that's fine. Thank you, I appreciate it. But if not, then that's fine as well.
Would I need to provide anything for your child at all, or?
No, just kind of be there. Just be there for us, both of us.
It's almost refreshing, isn't it? Hearing someone that actually appreciates someone just being there and being with them and their child, as opposed to having an expectation that someone that they're just dating pays for everything. Because honestly, spending time with someone can be just as priceless. Newsflash. But men still actually do go to war, and they have been for quite a while. I suppose it's entirely possible that they haven't been teaching history class quite as well as they used to, or perhaps some just forgot about some rather notable events that happened over the past several decades. But I digress. But it will never cease to amaze me how much some individuals like to be in other people's business. For instance, this gentleman is just sitting there, minding his own business, living, as they say, his best life, enjoying his beverage of choice, and yet there are still some that will criticize him for not drinking a manly enough beverage. As if it wasn't enough that there have been individuals over the past few years saying that there's too much toxic masculinity out there, but yet when they see someone who's not appearing to be manly enough, will still find some reason to try to criticize that person. I mean, seriously, pick which way you want it, because you can't really have it both ways. So let's think about how much sense this actually makes, okay? So this individual feels that the man should have to pay for the first date because they chose to paint their face with enough product that it could actually cover the side of a small house, not even taking into consideration the fact that they're actually seemingly charging the full price of each product when in fact they're only using a small portion of it. Exactly how does that mean that a man has to pay for the first date because one made a choice that most men don't even want or ask for? Because here's something to take into consideration. Most men actually prefer a woman's natural beauty as opposed to something that can come off with a wet wipe.
Dear Drizzle Drizzle Men, no woman on this planet has ever said that a man can't have outrageous dating standards.
Really?
Because y'all have always had outrageous dating standards.
Speaks the voice of experience in regards to a lot of women's modern dating standards.
Y'all automatically feel like you have the rights to our bodies.
What exactly are the type of guys like that someone like this associates with?
And if we say no, what do you try to do? You try to take it anyway.
Obviously, they hang around a very high caliber type of man.
Right, and if you don't try to take it, you do take it. You know what that's called? That is called SA and minus the G.
What?
We're so mad that y'all are being cut off from the rights to our bodies that you had to create a whole movement called Drizzle Drizzle and Passport Bro.
And they're saying this with such confidence too. Oh, bless their heart.
Y'all are the main reason why women have to walk around with weapons.
Should I say it or not?
It's disturbing.
Ooh, so tempting.
And guess what? We're not mad about the Drizzle Drizzle movement. We're not mad about the Passport Bro movement.
Could have fooled a lot of people with that statement.
I want you to leave the country. Better yet, gals, if an American dude who calls himself a passport bro comes up to you in the country of which you live, make sure you have a weapon on you as well, because these men, they are vicious.
Okay, I'm going to say it. It's women that act like this that actually encourage men to find their partners in other countries. Because if this is the typical American mentality, I can't blame them one bit.
Men do not long. They do not look back at old relationships. They do not think about their ex-girlfriends after they are done with them. That is a myth. It does not exist.
Real quick, before we get into this, wouldn't it just be a whole lot easier for the poster to admit that they know nothing about men?
Men do not have object permanence.
Oh, it's getting better.
And what do they see women as? Exactly. The idea of a man looking back at a relationship and regretting how he treated a woman, or regretting breaking up with a woman and wishing he had done things differently, and wishing he had treated her better and cherished her, that does not exist. That is not real.
It actually sounds like someone's upset that their ex didn't come crawling back.
If a man has broken up with you, it is because 9 times out of 10, he has seen you as not good enough for him.
Who wants to tell her?
And because of that, because he sees you that way, in his mind, his behavior, no matter how horrendous, will always be slightly justified.
I guess there's a possibility that this could be satire.
Because we teach men that they will just know how to act once they meet the right woman. So if they didn't act right, it must have been kind of your fault a little bit. And I want to disclaim that this isn't just like a men's behavior type video.
Thank goodness for that disclaimer, otherwise we would have never known.
I want to take like a pretty morally neutral standpoint on like that behavior, because like good men act that way, bad men act that way, it's whatever. This is more targeted toward women so that they can just release the hope that they might have that men regret the things they do to us.
I truly love it when people go in depth into subjects, especially on the internet, in which they apparently have no idea what they're talking about.
I don't know why some of these ladies say stuff like this. It's completely false. These women continue to try to make it seem like men are devoid of emotion. They don't have any emotional intelligence. Men don't care about emotions. They never get sad. They're never happy. They're always angry, in a constant state of trying to take over the woman, trying to put the woman down, trying to oppress the woman. When a man is trying to fight through oppression himself, a man is at work trying to figure out how to, not just you. Yeah, I want a wife one day, or I want to be with somebody one day. But even if I don't get there, I'm trying to figure out how to make it like the rest of you guys, like everybody else. That's what most men are thinking. Probably because we're human beings.
Unfortunately, there seems to be a lot of women out there with that particular mentality. And I'm sure to a lot of you gentlemen out there, it might even seem like it's the majority, if not all, women that feel this way. But rest assured, the vast majority of us actually find that loud minority to be not just distasteful, but disrespectful and downright infantile in their behavior. And I often wonder when I see stuff like this, what exactly do they think that they're accomplishing by doing so? By spreading a lack of that ever so loved term, empathy for other human beings. It's really not making some of them look very good now, is it? Because the only individuals that they happen to be impressing by this type of behavior are women with like-minded mentalities. They're not going to be changing anyone's mind. Unfortunately, they're just making themselves look foolish. Whoever said that most women have more empathy than men, I think they were mistaken. Because did you actually read what that person wrote? Let's look at it again. So they said go to therapy, get some self-esteem, and, well, yeah, most importantly there, money. Because that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day for a lot of these women, isn't it? It's money and what a man can offer a woman. And then they wrote because men suck the life out of everyone. I would just like to point out that women post stuff like this, especially in regards to men's mental health and how much they don't care about it. Those women would actually be the subject matter experts in sucking the life out of others. Because what kind of response is that in regards to men's mental health? No empathy, no caring about another human being, just displaying their lack of character.
I wanted to prove to you that not all men are bad.
Okay, let's do this.
They're all right. All of them. All of them. All of them. Even the good ones. Even the ones who are emotionally mature. The ones who have done so much spiritual growth and learning.
No, they're not. And saying so is actually quite harmful. Now, I do understand that this person is actually dealing with some trauma, and that is highly unfortunate. However, that is not an excuse for poor behavior.
He let me have sex with him, knowing my trauma, knowing that I was a rape survivor, and then felt so bad. So bad that he thought he should be honest, but only when prompted. Only when prompted. I don't want to lie to you, I have raped one. But you still had sex with me? But you still had sex with a rape survivor?
That was truly a very sad situation. And she genuinely does have my deepest sympathies. And I do understand how such unfortunate events can make a person very angry and want to blame every man for the actions of one very disgusting individual who probably should be investigated. But it is not okay to blame all men for the actions of one wretched individual. And I will add, please don't harass this woman. She's gone through enough.
If I tell you to leave me alone, and you leave me alone, you're legit dead to me.
I think this gentleman should consider himself to be extremely lucky, because there are some women out there that do have this type of mentality. They don't want men to necessarily listen to the words that they say. They want them to glean the hidden meaning behind it all, and then do what they secretly want, but won't say.
Like, I can't believe you do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, heaven forbid a man actually does what a woman says that she wants him to do. That's crazy.
Like, I was legit talking to a guy, and I said, I don't think we should speak anymore. He goes, okay, haven't heard from him in 5 days. Wow, that was too easy.
See, what they really wanted was for that guy to chase after them so that that little game that they were playing could continue.
The fact that your life just went on like that, like I was nothing?
I mean, that'll happen. A lot of guys, when they figure out that a woman is playing games, will absolutely be more than pleased to leave them alone.
Honestly, if women treated men the same way men have treated women, like, they would be pissing their panties right now.
Well, this will be fun, because apparently someone hasn't been paying attention, because there certainly are some, if not a lot of women, that are certainly giving it their darndest to treat men exactly the way that a lot of women have been treated by some of those men over the years. You know, like being sexist, disregarding their feelings, ignoring their emotional needs. But go on.
Because they be always trying to call women emotional and whatever.
Well, a lot of women are emotional.
But let a woman make so much as a joke about a man. and he's self.
While ignoring the actual fact that there's a lot of women out there that actually count on men making disparaging comments so that they can make even more content disparaging men. I guess I didn't think about that part.
It's like a man would not last a day in a prepubescent girl's shoes. Like, he literally would not. Those fools can't even handle a joke. Meanwhile, we've spent our entire lives being called dishwashers, being body shamed, all that shit by people we know and love.
Some honestly believe that men don't go through any kind of struggles, that they have it easy being men, that they're never shamed for anything, picked on, or have to go through any difficulties. It's truly amazing.
Let a girl make one joke, one sly little comment about a man, all of a sudden it's, wow, stop this gender war going on, even though we're the ones predominantly murdering women.
No, there's no gender war. Just a lot of women making themselves look foolish.
Men, why are you so dramatic and emotional?
Oh dear.
Oh my god, you guys are like PMSing or something.
Is this the voice of experience speaking?
I know damn well you are not canceling this freaking girl because she posted a video saying when it's time to be silent or give a moment of silence for Men's Mental Health Month, and it's like woo woo.
Oh, I get it. Someone else thought it was funny too, and is actually offended that people were offended.
Everybody's acting like she's somebody.
Now who's being overdramatic?
People are like, someone probably committed because of that video.
I mean, it is possible after all, but I highly doubt that they want to think about that.
Do you understand how many men with mics talk about how they don't give a shit about women's feelings, how they don't give a shit about women's mental health, how they don't give a shit about postpartum, they don't give a shit about any of that.
So the obvious solution, in apparently some women's minds, is to reciprocate bad behavior with more bad behavior.
You guys are just like absolutely crazy to me.
I believe that.
Like, instead of trying to cancel this woman because she made a freaking TikTok video, let's start with the men with freaking mics who continue the narrative against women every single day.
How about, instead of trying to cancel someone, actually learn to have a civil, adult conversation? That would be a good first start.
What's your biggest turnoff in guys?
That's right, it's time for another one of these.
Probably when they don't work out, go to the
really?
gym and stuff, yeah.
White men.
So what do you guys prefer in a guy?
Really rich, really black, at least 6'5".
6'5"?
Yeah. Just lots of money, really. Yeah.
Like a yacht and stuff?
Yeah. That kind of thing. Can buy me fancy things, take me on trips, pay my rent.
Between men or women, who has a harder life?
Absolutely women.
Why?
We bleed for a week a month. We are
We're everywhere we go.
Get like catcalled?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The parking lot attendant tried to steal me before.
Not me.
Anyone tried to steal you today?
We can.
Based on that, I'm starting to think that there might be a different version of reality for every person.
Consent doesn't exist in marriage.
Wait, what? Say that again.
Consent doesn't exist in marriage. I know this is going to piss a lot of people off.
Oh dear. That's unfortunately what I thought they said. It'll be an interesting sight indeed to watch them tell that to the multitudes of people, both women as well as men, that have actually been assaulted by their spouse during marriage and have actually suffered because of it.
But when you get married, your body belongs to your husband and your husband's body belongs to you.
Unfortunately, this isn't all of that uncommon of a belief. There are a great many people out there that, one, believe that when you become married, you are considered to be the property of your spouse, and vice versa, of course. They also don't believe that there is consent in marriage, which is really troubling if you think about it, because that means that there could be thousands, if not millions, of people that suffer needlessly because of that belief.
So I know there's a lot of people up in arms about this, but I think, Savannah, I think she's a Christian, so this makes sense that she would say this, right? When you get married, which is why a lot of marriages fall apart, you're already giving consent for a lot of things to go on, for a lot of things to happen. That doesn't take away from who you are as a person. That doesn't take away your mind and the way you think. But there are a lot of things that you think. There are a lot of things that you want to do, but you don't do. I think maybe a better word, given the modern context, would probably be submission, probably be surrender, probably be yielding. I don't have to surrender. I don't have to give anything, but I'm doing it willingly. So when I stand up at the altar, I'm giving my consent to say, because they tell you, now listen, you got to do it for better, for worse, to have and to hold. You got to do it when they're sick or when they're in good health, when they're poor or when they're rich. You got to do it in all, and they go down a list of things that you have to do it. This is what marriage is. This is what you're signing up for. Oh, I just love this person so much. Fantastic. But these are the things in the contract. These are the things in the covenant that you're going to have to perform. So you're giving your consent. Essentially what you're saying when you sign on that dotted line is not necessarily that you can take advantage of me, because you do the same thing when you go to work. I'm not signing on the dotted line that you can just take advantage of me, which a lot of employers do. When you say, well, I'm sick, we don't care, come in and we're going to fire you, right? But people still go to work and they don't have no problem with that because they got to make money. Right? And they say, well, I got to go home, I got to do this, I got to get to my kid's softball game, I got to get to my daughter's recital, or whatever it is. No, you don't. You're going to work today. They're revoking your consent from you. Oh, we had a vacation plan, we had X, Y, and Z, You're not going because we need somebody to fill the slot. Now, either you come in or they're revoking your consent in the way that you're talking about, because you already said, I do not want to do this. I am not doing this voluntarily. Now, what you could do is say, well, okay, then fire me. I ain't coming. I'm not coming in. You have the right to do that. But because you've signed up for something and maybe the money's too good, or maybe you need the money, then you say, well, I'm gonna go ahead and do it because this is the best choice for me. It's the same or similar concept in a relationship or in marriage. You can leave at any point in time, but you've signed up for this thing. So if your husband or your wife says, hey, I would like to do this tonight, you're probably not necessarily going to want to do it all the time, right? But now you have to, or you don't really have to, but this is what you signed up for. You know this is coming. This is the less glamorous part of relationships and marriage. This is the hard work beneath it. You still need to be respectful. You still need to be understanding of when a person doesn't feel like doing something, or when they are not feeling well, and whatever the extenuating circumstance is. And you guys need to work together. But in the end, you still said, here's my consent. Essentially saying, well, you know what? I can't really pull it back now. That's what she's talking about. And that's what happens a lot of times in marriage. This is what a lot of men hate. This is why a lot of men don't want to get married. I know we're talking about, oh, well, this and that, and me, listen. Men say, I married you thinking that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and you were on board with that. But then when we get into the relationship, you yank it back from me. I haven't had intercourse in years because my wife will not give it to me. She's revoked consent over and over again. This is what Savannah is saying. You can't do that. My head hurts. Got it. I'm having a baby. Got it. I'm really sick and I'm not feeling it. Got it. A man, if he's not a criminal, is not going to jump on you for that. He's not going to get on you and take advantage of you. But men are not going to do it anyway, unless they're criminals, unless you're talking about mishandling you. Those are terrible people. But what Savannah is talking about is, and what men talk about is, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then the guy was like, okay, I'm ready to do it. And you say, well, I ain't feeling it. Okay. And then I ain't feeling it for a month. And then I ain't feeling it for a year. And then I ain't feeling it for a literal decade. A literal decade. Some of these guys have not been with their wife in a literal decade. For years. Revoking consent. That's why Savannah said, well, there ain't nothing like that in marriage. When you started, you gave your consent. So you can't come back and say, well, you know what? I really don't want to do that no more. That's what we talk about women doing all the time. Taking their consent back and leaving the man just to hold the bag. And then they say, oh, you know what? This marriage ain't serving me. I'm going to go out. I'm going to get out of it. 70% of the time, they say, I'm leaving. And then what they do, take half the man's stuff. They take his consent. They say, okay, since I'm leaving, I'm going to take what you got. Oh, and you're going to pay me alimony too. You're going to pay me alimony too. And child support. Astronomical child support. I'm going to clean you out for everything. They're not asking for consent. The court ain't asking for consent. They taking it. You know how many men have fought in the court? Have been bent over in the courts? They're not asking for consent at all. They're not asking for you to give them nothing. We're going to take it and you're going to be happy about it. Or else, guess what? You're going to be in that jail cell. Huh? You're going to be on probation. So again, when we talk about consent in relationships, in marriage, you don't got to be there. But when you sign up for it, when you sign any contract, within reason now, you're signing and saying, I consent to this. So when you get into it, there ain't no, well, you know what? I ain't going to do this. And I ain't going to do that. And I ain't going to do this. And I ain't going to do that. You have a discussion about it because you're working together. But this ongoing back and forth about what you are and aren't going to do, non-existent. That's the quickest way to get divorced.